Amber, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing Regretting You. I really liked this movie. I think that it was beautifully done. Right off the bat, this movie was one that piqued my interest. I thought it had McKenna Grace in it. It was about romance and deception, like family dynamics. It was all the things I felt like could make a really interesting movie. And then I saw that the sister kind of like was having feelings for her sister's like boyfriend, and then I'm like, hold up, what's happening? I gotta see what's gonna go on. I've been hearing a lot of different things and different reviews about it. Many people like really loved it, and then there's a lot of people that said that it was kind of trying to normalize the idea of cheating. And I think that just look, these things make for a good movie. People want to see movies that have this kind of like dynamic tension. Like it makes for a good movie. That's why they keep using those tropes and stuff. I don't think in any way, shape, or form it's trying to normalize it. It's something that happens, and it's unfortunate. And I think this movie did a really beautiful job of showing the grief and the devastation and the aftermath of it. I think that is something that's not really explored too much. Just like the anger, the feeling of just like betrayal. Like I think that the characters did a beautiful job at like showing those differences in emotion as they were figuring that stuff out. Yeah, I think the scene where she was like kicking the car after she found out that her husband had cheated, like, oh my goodness, like the guttural feelings of like just like anger and like sadness and grief in that moment was just, I think it just did this movie did very well. And it was also very interesting that they showed the wife and I don't know their names, and the sister's like boyfriend, like they had chemistry before, but they ended up with their partners by just circumstances. Like it was, she got pregnant with his kid, like they got married, like, you know, like, and then the sister, she got pregnant supposedly with his kid. They ended up back together and like came back to each other's lives. And it was just kind of something that they couldn't like get out of. And they were, you know, just in it, just right in the motions. But she, the mom really did care about her daughter and wanted the best for her. I really did believe when she said like her daughter was the best thing that ever happened to her. I thought she was a very like multi-dimensional character. Like she like literally ended up with this guy that she didn't even know if she was like fully attracted to, because she wanted the best for her daughter. They started off the movie like close-ish, and then like they were like drifting apart as this was happening, and then it bonded them together. And it was really really interesting to see how distant like her and her husband kind of were. Like they just kind of felt like, she just kind of felt like, again, like she was right in the wave. Like he would come over and like kiss her and stuff and everything, and it didn't feel authentic. It kind of felt like this is what we have to do, and this is our lives now, and this is what we're doing. And then, like, of course, there's this happening behind the scenes, and it's been happening probably since they were, like, teenagers and before she got pregnant. And if that's the case, like, they were high schoolers. Like, you know, like, why do it for that long? Like, you guys could have just ended up together. Like, I don't understand. But they were all in high school together. It showed it, like, in the flashback. Why they didn't use younger actors to play them, I don't know. I thought that them trying to play the younger versions of themselves and making them look a little younger was, they didn't look like it, you know? That it's still, I felt they were good to have to kind of get some kind of clarity as to what was going on and what they came from. I would have liked to have seen how these relationships started, because they're polar opposites from who they ended up with. And it's not that they couldn't like have been attracted to each other or ended up with each other. It's just kind of like, how did this happen? Because you're party boy jock and she's very quiet, she's very reserved. And like, you know, she draws in her sketchbooks, and the other guy is like very nerdy, like, and then like the sister, like, how did this happen? How did it end up being between like these two siblings? It like, it would have been really cool if like the sister introduced her to him or something like that. I don't know. I just think that would have been really cool. But of course, movies do this. Like, we're not going to get the answers. And we just have to accept it. And I think that was part of it, really. Like, that, like, we don't know what happened. We only know this. We're only getting to see this. Like, this is what happened as a result of it, and we're seeing the aftermath of it. And I think that was also like the beauty of it, that we saw just her finding out and going through all these different emotions, and the daughter going through them in another way. And like, there's like moments when she's just kind of like blaming herself. There's moments when she's so angry with her mom that it's like almost laughable for her, like really, this is going on, like, you know. And she doesn't understand what's really happening, because the two haven't like sat down and talked to each other. And also, like, I loved that it was so normal that it was like, why don't you just sit down and talk to your daughter? And that, you know, she was old enough to understand, but they just didn't do it. And then, like, I feel like the sister didn't really care what happened with her life, honestly. I think she was just still kind of having fun. I feel like the dad kind of grew into, like, the dad kind of role. And for him to be so close to his daughter, I didn't see that. Like, I kind of wish I had gotten more of, like, daddy-daughter bonding time, because like, he just kind of was like in the background, and like, she loved him so much. Like, in the beginning when we see her talking to her aunt, like, you can tell, like, you know, they have like this bond, and you can tell she has like a different bond with her mom, but it's still close, but not as close as with the aunt. So it's like things like that, that I'm like, we could have tidied that up a little bit, but okay. Like, there was the thing with like the cousin, like the son of the sister and her boyfriend, and they didn't even like know if that was his kid anymore. They're pretty sure that it was the dad's, and they kind of just rolled with that. I'm like, did you not get a DNA test? Like, you know. And I don't even think the sister got a DNA test. I think she was just kind of like, well, I hooked up with the guy, it's his. Or like, maybe she just like was like, I'll just bring him back. You know, I'm used to him. She kind of said that, like, in the beginning. She's just kind of like, we know each other. And it's like, no, you really don't. Because even though the flashback showed that they were all together and they all hung out, that was only, like, over the course of a year. Like, they looked like they were all best friends in some aspect. But, like, they apparently did not really date for very long. So I think it was just kind of by, like, just cause, like, she was just like, oh, you know, we're ending up back with this guy. I slept with him. It's his kid, you know. And, like, I'm pretty sure she thought that it could be the dad's kid, but she just kind of was like, well, he's back into my life. Let's bring him back, kind of thing. That I felt like it was like, because not really much thought was put into it. Like, talking about, like, how, you know, they didn't get a chance. They chose wrong, but then they ended up where they ended up because of what life dealt them. And I think them going through this together and coming together through this, I think made it more real and really interesting aspect. And they made it so it happened like very naturally. It wasn't forced. It made sense. It was part of the story, and they really kind of like went into like, how are we going to make this happen? In the end, it didn't feel like icky. It felt kind of like, okay, they're together. That's cute, you know? And not just like, ew, you ended up with your sister's boyfriend, you know, kind of thing. And I think them doing that really like helped for that to be viewed differently at the end. I will say though, the the, the lady that acts the mom, she just has an older kind of vibe to me. Like, not like she's like old, but she seems older than the guy who acted the boyfriend. Like, they seemed younger. I don't know what the I don't know how many years apart they were. Um but I no, wait. They all graduated together. So they were all in the same class. They were all the same age. Or at least she was in the same age as him. I don't even know. But he feels more like younger, like kid, he can probably act like someone still in high school. Like, he felt the most authentic, I think, in those flashbacks. And she's like, has this very motherly kind of nature to her. And so seeing them together, I was just kind of like, that's what made it odd for me. I'm like, don't, you guys look like different ages. That was it. And it wasn't that, oh, you're with your, sibling significant other. We know that the aunt was like texting uh McKenna Grace's character, and then she just kind of stopped by coincidence when she was like kind of like telling her don't be the other woman. And it was just like, what happened? But again, it's kind of left to be determined. I feel like if people had gone through this and this was their situation, it would have been very much like this. It didn't feel just kind of like this is happening just because it's a movie. It felt very much like this is real. Like the sadness that she feels like when she's like blaming herself for her aunt and her dad's death, which that's another thing that I wanted cleared up. Like, did she just think that they died at the same time, or like she was driving the car and he was in it? Like, did she not question that? Like, they had funerals at the same time. Like, and then she said it was the mom who was like, no, she was driving the car and your dad was in it. So it was just kind of like, did we not know that? Like, I don't know. Oh my goodness, the boyfriend, he was so cute. He was, oh my, and then when he was doing the movie and he's like, you're gonna probably drive away. He's like, but if you come over, I know it was meant to be. And I'm like, oh my God, it's so cute. So cute. They were so cute together. I love that he was like there for her. He kept forgiving her. He like was talking to her. He was just, oh, such a sweet individual. And, I loved them together, and it was just so cute. And then the way it ended was just like, it didn't feel like it ended in a sappy way. It ended kind of like, maybe in a little ways, like they're going to college and like, like they're moving on with their lives, they're being happy now and everything. But like, I feel also that like it was pretty authentic in how it ended. Oh, editing Amber here. I realized that I didn't talk about the ending and how she was like calling her daughter, the mom, Claire Bear, like the aunt did. I was just like, after everything that happened, like that was just weird for me. Like, why are you calling her what your sister who your husband cheated on you with? This, like, why are you using the same nickname? I don't understand. I don't know if that was their way of like making it like come full circle or wrapping it up in a nice bow, but it just felt so odd. Um yeah, I was really kind of weirded out by that, especially after like the whole entire movie, and it just like kind of like we're moving on from them doing that. Like, they made that mistake. Now we can, be happy and do better. And um it just felt so weird. But other than that, I think so many people gravitated towards this movie because of the feelings that it got so correct in showing, and these actors demonstrating that they could really showcase these feelings and it really being shown on screen. And this, I think, was able to really showcase like I said before, the rawness of like it, and seeing it through a very kind of like complex lens, but not like overly dramatic complex, like very natural and very real. I say real a lot because I felt like this movie, it just kind of, it hit so hard because it's like that is like such a genuine reaction. These are all genuine reactions to how this outcome of this. And like the fact that it was going on for so long, and like it just shows that these like these people had no like consideration for their family, and they lied about going back to work, and they were in the hotel that her like he took her mom to. It's like it was so sickening. And so yeah, at the end when she's like calling her Claire Bear, I'm just like, can we not? Like that's just like it's so icky. We just came from all of this. We just learned all these different things. Like why? Love how like the the boyfriend ended up staying with the kid, and you know they ended up like raising him, like, and like he didn't care, like he like that was his kid, you know. And like it was so sweet. I don't even know they'll ever get a DNA test for that kid, but who knows, maybe or maybe they'll just bring him right back, so maybe they just don't care at this point. Why the boyfriend was with another girl when he was totally in love with McKenna Grace's character, I do not know. I think it was just kind of like we go with this idea in this movie of like relationships by circumstance, and so he just kind of was like with her to be with her. And then like when he got his chance with the girl he loved, he dumped her, which is probably what the others should have done. Maybe we should have followed the boyfriend example. And the grandson, like, such a good genuine guy, like I said before. Like he really knew that she was going through something, and even though he had feelings and they were valid, I love how everyone's feelings were validated throughout this movie. They were making mistakes, they were giving each other a hard time, like McKenna Grace's character when they were at the table, and she was just kind of like being so sassy and so sarcastic and rude with her mother. I was just like, oh my goodness, this actress is like amazing. And I already knew that obviously, but I was just like the look on her face of just like this, like she truly was disgusted with her mother and felt betrayed and did not understand it at all. That her all her mom had to do was just talk to her and tell her what happened, and she like believed her. Like it was just like it was so easy. But then it also shows the complexity of like what was going on and everything. I will say, even though the daughter and the mother's relationship, like it made sense, there were parts of it like in the beginning where like they were, when she previously was like talking to the aunt and she didn't like answer her mother's phone calls, I thought it was going to be more of like they were distant. But then she like was sitting at the table with her daughter and they were like kind of making like a vision board kind of thing. um but it kind of felt like a little forced, like they just kind of like were doing it just cuz. And I don't exactly know what, if that was intended to kind of show like, yeah, they're just in this situation, they're going through the motions, she's trying to be there for her daughter does care about her, but is also like her dad and her aunt are like the top people on her mind and everything. Like it felt very much like we were playing house in those instances, but then it also kind of like hinted that she was close kind of to her mom. But I kind of would have liked more of those moments. And when we were like playing house, like it was more like it was more divided. Like we could see when those moments were happening and when like and how she actually felt about her mom, so it wouldn't get confusing. Um and yeah, those are just my thoughts on that. And yeah, I just felt like all these actors did such a phenomenal job in like portraying their characters, and the kissing in the rain moments, and like everything that would have been, could have been, should have been sappy about this movie was not. It just felt so wholesome, which I really, really loved. I love how the boyfriend was kind of viewed as the bad boy, even though he wasn't at all. Him recording her was a little bit stalkery, though. The whole pizza thing, where like they were like moving the city limit sign to like closer to, I think it was the grandpa's house, um to be able to get pizza from this one place shipped to them, because it only like gets shipped within the city limit and the grandpa lives like outside of it. And like they're carrying the sign and nobody is like really questioning it, like they're shaking their heads, but I'm like, that's like a full on like felony, like, you know? But nobody is like seeming to care. It's just like this little like nonchalant thing that they're doing. And I'm just like all for it. I'm like, okay. Um and in the end, when they like finally put it in front of the grandpa's house and they order the pizza, I don't know, like, because nowadays I think like with GPS and everything, it like shows like where the city ends and everything too, regardless of those signs. But I like it at the end of the movie, I feel like it just like after all that happened, like nothing in it, like I said, felt sappy or weird. It just kind of like, it is what it is, and it's okay. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Bye.